Welcome. This nuclear war simulation, U.S. all-out strike on China. If you missed part one of this video, flash a little bit on the screen here. Some assumptions were made, just like any simulation, any scenario. In this one, it is just looking at what would be the maximum casualties the United States could make if they did all-out counter-value strike against China, utilizing the entirety of their nuclear fleet, nuclear stockpile. This would include the sub-launched missiles, the ICBMs, and the aerial bombers. Some of the other assumptions made was that everything is available. So like the Ohio-class subs, which carry our sub-launch ballistic missiles, there's always going to be a certain amount out. There's going to be a certain amount getting repaired, a certain amount in port. They're never going to have all 14 necessarily out and about. In this scenario, using the assumption everything is ready, it's all ready to go, so all 14 of them, and that everything works. So like we recently did a test on one of our ICBMs, and it failed. This assumption is everything works, looking at maximum potential casualties using this simulation. So the first video I did on this, what you're seeing here, I allowed the AI to choose the targeting, because really this test is to see who can do a better job, the built-in AI or myself. Or in other words, Skynet versus Magnus division. And so as we ran through that and they did all the strikes, ended up being right around 222 million casualties. So I included China and Hong Kong. Excuse me. And so we're going to do this now. I did some actual live working sessions. I have basically all the targeting done for all the sub-launched missiles and 2 of the ICBM fleets. And I'm going to run that, allow all those strikes to happen, and then I will do the final targeting for the last ICBM fleet, and so you guys will be able to see that and kind of come to all in total. And so we'll see here, and let me go to my attack plan, just so people can see here. I have attack plans for several major cities. And so you see here, like this is Shanghai. This would be Greater Shanghai. We have Nanjing. So you can see there's a ton of targeting. Here's some ICBMs. Looks a little crazier that way. Some ICBMs and some aerial bombers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to allow these to execute all their plans. So we'll also see back here. This fleet here and this fleet here have not done that fleet yet. So go back to, so I'll still need to do that one. But this would be a large majority of what's available. So let's go ahead and run this. You'll start to see the subs light up. This is about 10 times normal speed. And the ICBMs are going to start lighting up here too, but they're going to take a little bit longer. And then, of course, the aerial bombers will take the longest. We're going to start seeing sub stuff. Let's go look at Beijing. Zoom in for a second. There's a lot to go around. I think all these down here have already landed. Here we got Wuhan. Keep joking, what kind of biological agents are we going to release striking Wuhan? Truth be told, I believe most anything would be destroyed by the actual heat of the blast. I don't think any biological agents would survive that, but who knows, maybe I'm wrong. If there's any experts watching the video, leave me a comment below and let me know if I'm incorrect. This is at Chungking. I may be saying that wrong. There is a fantastic Chinese restaurant, just overall Asian restaurant, in Lexington, Kentucky, Panda Cuisine. They have Chungking chicken, which is just a Szechuan chicken. It is phenomenal. I don't normally like going out just to get chicken, but it's some good stuff. So there, got the ICBMs coming in. So the way the visual representation works, as they get a little closer to the target and they start to what would represent the warheads breaking off, you'll start to see the individual warheads. If they were MIRVed, you would then start to see them separate into individual targeting. The ICBMs are not MIRVed, unlike, say, the sub-launched missiles. So, and what you see here is what you're going to get. There we go. Oops. Just speeding up a little bit just due to the fact that I still got to do additional targeting and stuff. So a lot of these ICBMs weren't hitting necessarily major cities, but hitting some of the surrounding, some of the stuff, not as densely populated, but still fairly populated areas. And then have the bombers, at least portion of them, they take so long, so. Okay. So I'll go ahead and run the casualties, and the reason why is I need it to show up to do the remaining targeting to help me to choose the final targets. All right. So I can tell you already that I've already smoked the AI. The AI had 222 million casualties. I'm already at basically 501 million. So 501st if you're a Star Wars fan. I've actually caused less casualties to Hong Kong than the AI. So they're about 1.7 million. And I came in at 614,000, 615,000. I mean, I don't think that's going to, still not going to get any Christmas cards from Hong Kong that year for sure. But all right. So we can see where a large portion of our strikes and damage happen. So I can look at Fallout 2. So I can utilize these things to help the final targeting. So I've stopped it. go back over to here and let me highlight these bad boys. So it's 150 ICBMs, and then so James Stratton, he thought when the AI did it, the casualties were too low, and I agreed with him. And I said, you know what, I think I can do better. So he's somebody who's commented on multiple videos of mine, and I absolutely appreciate it. So I think this is a problem with some of these bombers showing that they're not in range. I think they would hit most of Russia, but not there. So I got to figure that part out. Their range is even less. All right. So let's see, ICBM-3. Done. Before I go forward, let me save scenario. Let's say this is 2 because now I've actually... Actually, I think it won't even have the cache. I don't even think it would. I think you'd have to rerun it. But it's one good thing. So let's go attack plans. Let's go boom. Let's see what happens. Let me go over here. If it works right, these guys should start lighting up. And it's working right. Go a little bit. So I finished in all the targets for the 3rd ICBM fleet. I may have to manually do single detonations for the rest of their bombers instead of messing around with moving all the bombers, because the bombers are showing out of range for China. And so, you know, realistically speaking, as much as you can be realistic with the simulator, like the B-2s would probably be forward deployed to Guam or other places. So I'm going to have to see what remains and do that manually under single explosions. All right, so that took me up. Almost got another 100 million casualties. Did increase the amount for Hong Kong. Let's look at total right now, 597. Have I caused any on Russia? So it's one of the benefits of doing this scenario. So 2,561. I'm not worried about necessarily striking other countries. Because remember, it's all about the maximum damage. So already I basically have tripled the casualties that the AI was capable of. Let's see here. So what do I have left? I'm just going to highlight the United States. So for targeting, oh, it's going to show me everything here. Let me not do that. Let me do available ones. Last one. I am in shock. B2 Bravo. Done. All right. So if you stayed with me to this point, this is the final warheads. I've already crushed the AI. Let's see how far I can take this last round. Let's go a little bit faster than that. They're doing their last little bombing run. Let's follow this guy. All right. So this started on September 9th, 2024. It is September 15th. The U.S. has expended its entire arsenal. Let's look at what our casualties are. Just keep in mind, when the AI ran it through the AI, it had 222 million casualties. I have completely obliterated the AI. So you can see this. For China proper, 739,188,160. With Hong Kong, that's another one. Basically, let's just round up and say 1.6 million. Macau, 467,000. Then, not going to count North Korea, just because this was supposed to be maximizing casualties to China, and they just kind of got in the way. So, let's see. That gives us a total of 8. $741,254,784. So, for the sake of this argument, just going to keep some whole numbers. I'm going to round it down to 741 million. And I round it up for the AI at 220 million. 3.33 times the casualties. So I tripled the casualties for the AI. So president, U.S. government, if you need some help with your targeting on your current PSYOP plan, I'm always available as a consultant. Magnus Division. In all seriousness, this illustrates the destructive capabilities of the U.S. nuclear stockpile, and just like we saw with the Russian stockpile against the United States. And so there's a huge destructive capability there. You want to look at China proper, and this had the population here, so we'll say, and again, this isn't factoring in Hong Kong, but we'll do our rounding. %54 of the population dead. 54%. And that was roughly where we landed when Russia did an all-out strike on the United States. About 50%. Initial casualties, long-term, kind of like I said, rough number pulled out. I would look at a very rough number. Might put some more thought to this, but roughly, maybe, I'd say long-term, maybe 20% of the population would survive. 20%. The fascinating, or I say it's fascinating, but the thing to think about in this is, keep in mind, this is a very specific target of what it calls maximum civilian casualties. This is not meant to represent an actual, what a strike would look like. This was not looking at any military targets, industrial targets, using the least effect, the least amount to get the maximum results. This was maximum carnage and chaos. So when you have like your Annie Jacobsons out there telling you that if there was a nuclear war, 5 billion people would die, you have to take that with a grain of salt. I'm going to make a separate video as a rebuttal to what she's said. Like I said, very smart lady, talked to top people in the field. So I just think that, again, it's sensationalizing it instead of looking at it from what would be a more realistic perspective. Don't sensationalize, just like the people that say, like, well, if there's a nuclear exchange, all life, all human life would be gone. That's just factually, or best of our knowledge, incorrect. So again, it's a separate video, but this just gives you a rough idea of a potential capabilities of the United States, the amount of carnage and destruction they could cause. So hope everybody enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe if you did. Please continue to spread the good message. Again, this video took a lot of time as far as doing all the manually targeting and stuff. I am looking at, I also do some more sophisticated things that use a little more maybe sophisticated sims like command modern operations to look at different military systems. This one is good at utilizing casualties. Command modern operations isn't. But I like to integrate the two. And so look for some more videos along that lines. Plus, I want to do a what if MacArthur used atomic weapons during the Korean War. So we have a lot of different stuff there. So check out some of my recent videos. If you're into like Cuban Missile Crisis, I did what if it went hot. Ukraine escalation for 2024, just did a video on that. A lot of content out there. So appreciate everybody. Thank you.